Hi everyone, it's Sue here, and I am bringing you the third dosha today in our Ayurvedic series 101. So 4 weeks ago, I introduced what Ayurveda was, and then I introduced the first dosha, which is our body constitutions, for lack of a better word here. And our first dosha was Vata, V-A-T-A, which is air and ether. The second dosha was Pitta, which is fire and water. And today's dosha is Kapha, which is earth and water. I've been talking about what they look like, what it looks like to live in these constitutional bodies, and what it looks like when we're imbalanced, and how we can help ourselves come into balance. This series was really designed because I wondered if many of you even know what Ayurveda is. And it's a big topic, it's a science. And, the health of our body has many layers to it. There's tons of resources out there. And, I recommend that if you are interested, you go find some of these resources. Somebody that I follow that has a wonderful website and a lot of free material is Dr. Douillard, and his website is called lifespa.com. And I wanted to announce that Yoga International, which is a partner with the Himalayan Institute, which is where I've done my training, is offering a free month of their online services, which I am a member of, and they're wonderful. They have yoga classes of all levels. They have information about different topics like Ayurveda that you can research. And they're doing it in support of our social distancing now. They normally offer a free week. Now they're offering a free month. So if you're interested at all, it's yogainternational.com, or reach out to me and I'll send you the link. We're all doing our part, right? And we all want to support each other. This is my way of supporting you. If you need anything from me, please just reach out. And we're trying to build community online now so that we can stay connected and supported. Okay, that being said, Kapha. So Kapha is the dosha of rejuvenation and healing. And that's such a wonderful quality to have, right? As an individual, rejuvenate and healing. One of the wonderful things about Ayurveda is it actually helps us to build and strengthen our deeper awareness around our physical bodies and around nature and how we live within nature and the universe. The word Kapha, Ka, means water, and Pha means to flourish. And so thinking about what flourishes in water. My friend Kate Stillman, who is an Ayurvedic practitioner and has a program called Body Thrive, she says it this way: if you think about a bog and all the lusciousness and, or you could even think of a tropical rainforest in this way also. There's lusciousness and there's vibrancy and there's lots growing and there's a lot of activity with animals and bugs and things. Versus if you think of a desert, which is arid and dry and barren a lot of times. So that's kind of a nice way to think about Kapha. They can be very lush and beautiful and full of vibrancy in life when they're healthy, when they're in balance. So what does it look like if you are a Kapha person? What do you look like? So Kaphas tend to be larger bodies. They have big bones, they have great big eyes, they tend to have bigger hips, and they have thick, usually a lot of wavy hair. I like to think of the word voluptuous with a Kapha person. They've just got a lot of unctuousness to them. Their skin is dense and oily versus that's super dry. And they're just usually beautiful human beings. with their digestion, unlike a pitta who is very good at digesting food and pretty much can eat anything, kaphas are a little bit more sensitive and they have a harder time digesting. That's just their nature. And there's things that we can look at when we get to the part where we're keeping them in balance. But just as a general rule, their digestion tends to be a little bit more sluggish. They're blessed with endurance. Usually kaphas can go and go and go, whether it's on an endurance run or whether it's sitting at a desk on a project. They don't need a lot of food. They don't need a lot of water. They're really focused and they can go a long time. And they tend to be really calm, easygoing, great listeners, very loving. And they're the type of person that you want to have as your best friend or your partner because they have those qualities. So what does it look like when they get out of balance? And remember, when we're born into the world, we come in with a certain constitution, our prakriti, it's called in Ayurveda. But when we live in the world and we make decisions and we're around certain people or in certain environments, we can push ourselves out of balance and away from this natural constitution. This is called our prakriti. And this is when we can get into trouble. Remember, the closer we can stay to our natural balance, the better we're going to feel, the more healthy we're going to be. So what does it look like when a kapha gets out of balance? Well, they tend to accumulate. That's sort of a good word for kaphas, is accumulation. And they'll accumulate lots of things like excess weight or things. They like to accumulate things. They tend to want to make a lot of money and keep a lot of money. And that's not bad in itself, but what starts to happen is then they don't want to share it with anyone because they need that. It feels afraid to them if they don't accumulate these things. And have you ever known anybody who always had to have food with them no matter where they went? And they didn't really have to because they could go to the grocery store, but their nature is to accumulate and keep that with them. It's really hard for kaphas to get moving when they're out of balance, and they'll tend to have lethargy or even depression, or they just can't get out of their own way. They'll sleep all day, or they'll sleep a lot throughout the night, go to bed early, get up late. And they tend to have mucus everywhere. So think about mucousy areas like respiratory infections or sinus infections or excess bowel activity or a lot of profuse sweating. These kinds of things, they accumulate. Think about how water would accumulate in your body. Edema-oriented things, lymph gland-oriented, flow is not good. And as a result, they tend to not, they tend to do that more. When you get out of balance, what do? We tend to move more towards imbalance. So like I was saying earlier about the digestion, their digestion tends to be sluggish in general. So the better thing for them to do would be to have lighter foods, easier to digest foods, eat more regularly. But kapha, when they're out of balance, they tend toward heavy food, like lasagna and casseroles and burgers and fries. And that just creates more mucus and creates more lethargy. And if you're a kapha, you're probably smiling to yourself because you can see these tendencies. They're pretty obvious a lot of times. So how can we help ourselves get more in balance? Well, I just gave you a little clue. If your digestion is sluggish and you know from your own learning that heavy, dense, unctuous, oily food makes you more sluggish and gives you more digestive issues, well, then you won't eat those. You'll eat lighter foods like salads or smoothies or lean meat and fresh vegetables. Kaphas need to get moving. That's the end of the day. So if you wake up in the morning and you're out of balance and you feel really lethargic and a little bit depressed, the best thing for you to do is to get out and go for a walk or do some yoga or ride your stationary bike or whatever you're going to do to get your body moving. And the earlier in the day you can do that, the better. Kaphas can be the kind of person that uses caffeine well. And I'm not saying go out and drink 20 cups of coffee, but like for me, I can't really do that. It makes me too jittery. It pushes my vatic tendencies too much. But a kapha, the caffeine can actually help them stimulate their metabolism and stimulate their mind. So using caffeine and using warm water instead of cold water is actually better for their digestion. So if you're drinking water throughout the day, try not to make it ice water or cold water, make it more warm water. One of the things that's recommended for kaphas is to share what they have. And so remember I told you they can have a tendency to accumulate and then hold on to that accumulation. So if they could share, maybe they go through their closet and they get rid of some of their clothes they don't wear and they take it to Goodwill or to a shelter. Or maybe they share their time with somebody who needs it. Or maybe they give some of their money to charity. So these kinds of things sort of energetically and emotionally can help a kapha move forward and get back into balance, into their own natural, loving, kind, giving nature. So those are just a few tips. Again, there's so much. There's so much. And there's lots of books out there. And if you want some more guidance, reach out to me. You know to do that. And I just want to remind you that, with Ayurveda, we have all of these natures in us. We have the nature of vata, which is movement. We have the nature or qualities of pitta, which is transformation. And we have the nature and qualities of kapha, which is rejuvenating and healing. And that's really beautiful. And when in balance with our own personal constitution, we can just hum along. On a final note with that, in our culture today, with the COVID virus and keeping social distancing, this is really vital to keep our immune system really healthy. And if Ayurveda kind of sparks that interest in you to look at your immune system and your body functions in a little different way, not in a good and bad way, not in a right and wrong way, but in a balanced or imbalanced way, and you need a little extra help, please reach out. So there you go, my little series on Ayurveda. I hope you enjoyed it. Please, have fun with it, right? If you didn't take the quiz, go take the quiz. If you want for more information, go check lifespa.com. And if you want even more information or you want to work privately, reach out to me. Okay, you guys, I look forward to seeing you next week with a whole different topic. And until then, please be well, be safe, and be happy. Namaste.